Good morning and welcome back to Planner Craft. I'm Natalie and today we're going to be doing a bit of foil resist. Now because I'm foiling an entire 12x12 background, rather than you all waiting for that to finish, which is due to take about 32 minutes, I thought we would bring you in towards the end of the foiling so that you can see it in process. But just to quickly go over what I've done. So into Canvas I imported the SVG pattern. So I'm using one of the geometric patterns that I put on the group earlier this week, or after Ian did. And I had to shrink it down a bit to get it to fit. Rotated it round because I wanted the arrows going in the other direction, and I've added a row on to fill in the space at the top.
Want to do mornings for you?
Yeah, let's do mornings.
Davey, Mum,
Oh, hi Mum.
Carol,
Hi Carol.
Deb,
Hi Deb.
Linda.
Hi Linda. Why have they all gone gold? That's
Guess they're all
weird.
special.
Yep, they're all special. Okay, so today we are doing a congratulations on passing your driving test layout. So this is going to be going probably to Leicester, isn't it? And you can put it in her scrapbook. So she passed first time. Yay, she's good. What are you trying to do? You press the wrong button.
Yeah.
You have to take it back off to be able to. So, do we have any questions from yesterday at all? What is it with you with random capital letters, Ian? Who's Lucy passing? Do you want to share it with the group as well? So as I said, the pattern that I'm using is one of the ones from the pattern collection that I did put up earlier this week. So you're going to look for my name in the group, even though it was Ian that did it. If you want to craft along. As I said, by the time it's finished, it's going to take about 32 minutes. It's on speed 1 and the pressure is -2 because I'm using the bold tip.
Which one are you using?
I'm using our foil. Our lovely white foil. So when I'm doing the resist, I use the white foil, which is just here. And I'll quickly show that on camera for you. There you go.
I would love to share it, but
Is it playing off?
Carol says well as Lucy.
Do you want to just quit out of Safari if it's struggling that much here? Because otherwise it's going to impact on the stream. Just Safari and quit. There you go. Okay, so because it's 12x12, there will be little areas that you can't get to, either because your active area runs out or because your tape's in the way. Don't worry too much. Most of your design is going to be focused over on this section anyway. Hey, we're on the last row.
Down the tape.
It's across the top. it's just where it had a little bit extra room and there was enough room for another row, so I thought sensibly I'll put another row in. Which was quite easy to do with this pattern because we've got our arrows going in two directions, first one way then the other, so it was easy enough to copy one going the correct way and drop it at the top. When you bring it in, it's all individual little shapes, so do group it to move it and so forth so that you don't lose any. No. You can see it in the layers palette that it's all the individual. There we go. Ta-da! And let's unplug that. Careful with that. So. And I'm going to go OK. Unload. I'm going to put that back up for now. We will be using our scan and cut again for the layout, but how's that looking for screen? That's okay. So very carefully, I'm going to peel away my foil so you can check that everything is foiled correctly. Should be. Now, if you want to use this waste foil on something else, you can do. Which is why I'm so carefully removing it. Because what I might do is use that in one of the decorative pieces further on in our layout. So let's put that there. And hopefully you can see, if I bring it up closer, our foiling like so. So you can actually fill those shapes if you want to. You could play with the fill patterns if you want to do something funky like a stripe through it or a grid. You could fill every other one if you wanted to. So there's lots of different ways that you can use that pattern to make something completely different. So let's take this off of that. And I'm going to start by creating my background. Then while that's drying, we can do a few bits and pieces on our machine that we can use as embellishments. I won't be embarrassing Daisy by putting photo on screen. So let's first of all pick out some colours. So I'm thinking antique linen. Maybe a little bit of chocolate. Just a bit.
She does love a bit of chocolate on this.
Yeah, she's a bit of a chocolate fiend.
But you wouldn't know it from the size of she's been.
Gets your genes, I think. And I was going to put a little bit of grey in there, but I think I might do that with some watercolours. So let's start with sprays. And just to save it going everywhere, I'm just going to use my tray. Now this is going to be one of those where it's not going to quite fit, so I'm going to angle it so that I can actually try and get a few bits and drips if I'm lucky. So first things first. this one is really quite strong. Now, because I want some splats, I can use what's actually on the spray stem as such. Okay, I'm going to let that drip down. We can also use a water spray. So if there are, however you want to just give a bit more blending to, you can just squirt it, or we can also do the same tap method over the top. Okay, and because I don't want to lose too much of that detail, I am going to use a little bit of mopping up. So I'm just trying to get a bit of a drip going on first, so we don't stop it dripping altogether. And then we can gently start to clean that up so that our foiling is going to start showing back through. So you see where I've pressed, our foil's starting to show back through. Now where the chocolate is, because it's more of a resin spray, you will find that your foil will hold on to some of that, which is why I use very limited area of it. There we go. Just going to change the bit of towel I'm using. There we go. Dum-dum. So what I would say is, after you've done your layout, is just place it under a couple of books, so before you put any 3D elements on it, just so that you're flattening this back out.
You finished foiling?
Yeah. Yeah, I was considering whether to do some more, but I have a different idea, I think, for what I'm going to do next. Okay, so now I want to pick out a few of those little arrows with some watercolour so that we can actually work with our texture to actually include some of that pattern. So, as this case, which one shall I work with? Yeah, that one will do. So, I'm going to go ink tints and back to the original palette. Let's grab my water and a paintbrush. Now I'm going to start off by using some of the burnt yellow ochre, as they call it, and mix that up here. So can you see that okay? Yeah, cool. And I'm going to add to that.
See where you're mixing it, so you don't see the rest of your palette.
Okay.
That's better.
Just going to add a bit more of that burnt yellow ochre in there. And a tiny smidge of black. Just to knock that colour back a bit. There we go. Now, I can actually come in here and I can actually follow our foiling with our watercolour. And the good news is with this, because we've got that foiled outline, we don't have to worry about staying in the lines. So I'm just going to pick out some of the random little arrows, like so. Now your oxide underneath is still going to be water reactive, which is your antique linen, but your chocolate one should stay pretty much put. So I'm looking particularly at areas that are particularly pale. Where we might start to lose bits of our pattern. And we can even come down here. Like so. And let's go for that one there. I've only got 5, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to give my brush a quick clean. Let's get some water in my palette. And this time I'm going to go into my poppy red. So this is a nice vibrant red. As we know, there's going to be red somewhere on this layout. It's a good highlight colour to use. Now, just because my brush is blobbing a little, I'm just going to take a bit of that water off there. There we go. I might go a little bit stronger with that red. I'm going to go for this one up here too. So as we're going red now, we don't have to worry about whether the one we're painting is pale or not, because it's really going to stand out over that chocolate. Okay. Let's go for one a bit further up. Let's go for this one here. Okay. Don't really have anywhere to go with that, so let's just do that quickly. Yes, please, if it's off. Because it's just easier to watercolour when it's a bit closer to you rather than me having to stretch over. So, don't want to be getting anything. Okay. Wake up a bit. There we go. That's better. Yeah. Okay, so let's go for that one there. So I'm just angling my head so I can see the foil. And one more for good luck. And let's go for one of these ones down here. There's a little bit of water just there. Just going to lift that up. Don't want to smudge anything. And let's go just there. So. Next thing I want to consider is where my title is going to go. So if we know that our title is going to be roughly here, it could be that we just pick out a few of the arrows off into this white space so that we have somewhere for our title to sit. So let's go for this one here. Let's get a bit more red in that. It's a bit pale. Yeah. And we go back to the chocolate colour. And do the next arrow along. Finally, let's start another puddle of water. Bit more of that burnt yellow umber and a bit of the black. This is probably the closest that I'm going to be able to get to antique linen. And there we go. If you want to do a few of the arrows with that same mix too, you can do. So let's go over here so it's nice and subtle. One more where it's going to stand out a bit more, so down here. And one more up here to bunts. So let's go for this one here. And there we go. We have the start of our scrapbook background. So at this stage, you can set it to dry somewhere underneath a nice heavy book. But just so you can see it up close and personal. You can see where our foil is. And it's still going to pick up all those bits of foil over here when it comes to actually putting it into the pocket. So you'll be able to see that background all the way across, but you're really going to see it where you've highlighted it. It's very quiet today, isn't it? Okay. So, next week we are thinking of doing a bit of a staggered start time to see what works and what doesn't work. So, Monday? Yeah?
Yeah.
We'll start at 9. Tuesday we'll start at 10.
Well, Tuesday, do you want to start? So, because that clashes with clarity, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Okay. So Monday we'll start at 10 then. Yeah?
Okay.
And do 11 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
9 on Wednesday. Just to be awkward.
Okay.
Then back to 12 for Thursday. And do 2 on Friday.
Okay.
So do you want to repeat that then? He says,
No.
oh. But what I will do is I will put up a schedule for next week. Okay. So I'll wipe my palette out just so that I can put that off to one side for now. So next I'm going to need some coloured card. And of course I'm going to start with red. So let's pull out some red card that we can play with. So, have a few shades of red, just a few. We can choose from. So let's go for I think that one's slightly closer to a red tone, so I'm going to go with that one.
Mickey Shaw says, love the page. I missed the start as I work from home and have to log on at 8, so a change in time would be fine.
Okay, cool. That's fine by us because it was okay to start at 8 when Ian was doing his thing. But now that he's not, or at least for the foreseeable, hey sweetie, it's a bit weird because it's like...
Thank you, Linda.
What's that?
Linda's just typed out what we said. Monday 10, Tuesday 11, Wednesday 9, Thursday 12 and Friday 2.
Thank you, Linda.
I have written it down as well.
So, I'm going to feed that in. And let's get my pencil.
Closer.
Yes, please. So, as we need to do owl plates, I thought we could have a bit of fun and actually do a bit of cutting them up on the machine. So, this is where it could get interesting. I'm going to go home to reset everything. I'm going to go into pattern, and obviously my first port of call is going to be my letters because I need a nice bold L. Okay. Now obviously when that's going to come in, it's going to come in at its usual size, which may or may not be big enough. Oh dear.
Yeah,
I
you're
am
muttering
gonna...
again. Just pack it in.
Huh?
You're muttering again.
Am I? Oh, sorry. So I'm going to enlarge that because we want our owl to be noticeable. It's probably one of the feature elements of our layout. So it needs to be a bit bigger. Now correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, but usually the L on an owl plate is pretty much equal height to width. So at the moment our letter is a little bit on the short side.
Yes, they are usually rectangularly
Yeah. So
square.
I'm going to set that. Let's see how clever the machine can be. I'm going to bring it into the middle. I'm going to go to Edit, Object Edit. I'm going to duplicate it. Now, to get it where we want to get it, I'm going to need to reflect it, go to Rotate, and rotate it 90 degrees. And we can put that over the top like so. That still looks a bit too wide then, doesn't it?
It's too long now.
Okay, we can fix that too. So I'm going to go to my resize. I'm going to use my ratio button because I want to alter the width and not the height. I'm going to shrink it up, and it's always going to work from that centre out. So bear in mind that as we're doing this, that inner point's going to go there. That looks a bit better, doesn't it?
Yeah, that looks more like it.
Okay. So I'm going to go to my multi-select, and I'm going to select all, because this is the only two things on the map. Then we can go to align, and I'm going to align it to the left, so it's going to pull that neatly in, and I'm going to align it to the bottom. So now the two sort of outside points of our owl are now lined up, and we can go OK, OK, object edit, and we're going to weld it. So we now have an owl that looks more like an owl plate. Yay! Go OK to say, yep, that's definitely what I want to do, because you can't undo it after. I'm going to go OK, OK, and I'm going to go to add. And we're going to go to our basic shapes. I am popping a square, and I'm not going to worry about size, because we want to size that to our owl plate. No, that's not looking too bad, is it?
No,
Do I take it in that way a little?
no, that's fine.
Okay.
Just bear in mind that our plate's generally white with a red elm, not
Yeah.
red with a white elm.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm not going to cut it like that. So, what I'm going to do instead is move this one now down here, because we've sized it and we know what we're happy with. I'm going to move my red out up here, and let's pull out some white card. So it's 4x4, just about, which means that our other card probably won't be quite big enough. One of those moments where I think I could really do with some more white card out. Actually, let's go for drop it up and drop it down. So this is the same card as what I did the background with. So it's a 350 GSM. I'm going to trim that down very quickly, just because it's easier than trying to use up some of my nice textured card. So it's essentially going to be a big background. Let's drop out my ruler. And I'm just going to cut it so that it is roughly 6x6. I'm going to let my machine do all the fine detail cutting. Okay, so this can go into the bottom right corner. Like so. I'm going to do a background scan. So you can make sure that we're not doing anything daft, like going off the edge. It's looking pretty good. I can move that up into that corner if I want to, or down into this one. Let's go down into this one a little bit. And that one I could use the outside as a frame. So let's go OK. and we want to cut it out. And because it's pretty simple, I'm just going to go for the standard auto blade. And I need to drop my pressure right down. And also my cut speed can come back down a bit. And off we go. Okay, so, oh, that tore a bit. Let's get that off there. And let's get this one off here. Right. I'm going to unload my Mac for a second just so I can get to my workspace. Let's just sort this one out.
Slices on your desk.
Yeah, I'm not looking for my slice, I was looking for my other one. There we go. There we go. My red card's slightly thinner than my white cards there. Rather than having to recut the white card, it's just easier to just do it by hand sometimes. Let's tidy up that bit that tore off.
Okay, Carol, we'll catch you later. Carol's got to go, so just catch you later.
Okay. I'm going to get some of the Combo Aqua. I'm going to use the little toothed side applicator so that I'm not applying too much glue, but I'm getting a nice even layer across my L.
The new one, the old one.
The old one, I'm using up the last dregs. But I want it to dry pretty quickly, so you don't want to have any blobs of glue. And I'm going to place that onto my white card, like so. And before I go too far, I am going to grab a blending tool and some antique linen, and let's go walnut stain. So rather than oxide for the linen, I'm going to go back to ink. And I might even blend in a little bit of black as well. And I'm going to beat up my L plate. So the reason I'm using a square one for this is that we can get some interesting kind of straight lines that look a bit more distressed than if you did it with a nice soft blender. So it makes a change to see me not do it with a brush. And you can see I'm not being overly gentle with it. We want it to look beaten up, so the more that we can kind of do that, better. So antique linen is good for like the background sort of colour, so that we're taking that white off our object. Walnut stain, on the other hand, is going to be a bit darker. And a little goes a long way, so we're going to do that mainly on the outside edges. Now we can go back in with the antique linen after if we want to soften anything out. So for instance, where it's come in a bit more here, I'm going to come back in with the antique linen there, across this corner, so that it starts to feel a bit more dirty. And it is easier to do this at this stage before we do the next bit, and it's also allowing our glue the time to dry. So a bit of a win-win. And again, I'm just going to sweep that in from the edge, so we're softening that outside blend a bit off that corner there. Now I'm going to get, let's go hickory smoke rather than pitch black, so it's not too strong. I'm going to get my felt plate and just literally go along the edge like so, and then use what's on that edge just to blend, so that we're not putting too much extra colour on, like so. Can you see what's coming next? So hopefully by this point our glue is dry.
You're going for the hand torn?
No, I'm not going for the hand torn. You can go hand torn if you want, or if you want the machine to do a bit for you, you can do that too. And I'm getting inky fingers. So.
That's why you got pretty great because
Yeah, I'm going to get inky anyway. So I'm going to go OK, home to reset. I'm going to go to pattern, border, and let's go for, hopefully this is, getting there, there we go. So we have our zigzag, and at the moment it's at 6mm by 100mm. So I'm going to put that onto my mat as is. I'm going to do a background scan because we want to be able to see where we're putting it across that old plate. Yeah. Yeah. So what I might do is finish this off on Monday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to bring that zigzag in because we want to rotate it, because I'm going to put one side of the photo and one half the other side. So let's rotate it 90 degrees.
Usually done a slight angle, aren't
You want it on a slight angle, there you go. Yeah.
You don't normally tear straight, do you?
Just wondering which way to go. That's probably about right actually, because then you can put the left hand part up high and the right hand part down low.
Mm.
Yeah, let's go for that. So we're just taking that 10 degrees off, upright. Okay. Okay. Now, Usually I would say don't go edge to edge. So I'm hoping that it's slightly off at the top so that it's going to be able to see that card. If I go for my mat, I go for my mat. Naughty Natty. Rebelling today. Don't do as I do, do as I say. And there we go. And if we're lucky. Ooh, it's almost, hey, look at that, I'm good. It literally went edge to edge. So I've just got a little nick at each end to do, which is cool. So let's unload the mat. And let's pop that on my cutting mat. Get my knife. It is easier to do it with a knife than trying to use it do it with scissors. I'm just going to put my knife back into the track and do it that way. And this one up here is where it should turn back the other way. So I'm just going to turn my knife slightly. And we have our two halves of an nail plate. Ta-da! So hopefully you can start to see how we can start to use our basic shapes, our letters, to actually create embellishments for our scrapbooking. So if you wanted to do that smaller, you could do. You could do some more that you've scaled down and put those on your layout. But I think that's pretty cool as is. You know what else would be cool if we did some road signs? Now that could be interesting.
The obvious way that you want to do is no entry.
Yeah.
One way.
Stop. Stop's nice and easy.
Stop's nice and easy, yeah.
Traffic lights are easy.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it's just 3 circles. Got one from red, one from amber, one from green.
Can you get the right shapes and colours there?
Yeah. Yeah, because you could use a rounded rectangle, then offset that inwards to get the border for your traffic light. That's just a challenge now. So I will be doing traffic lights on Monday. Let's see how many road signs we can create with a scan and cut. And for everything else, there's print and cut. So hopefully you've enjoyed that and you started to see a few ways that you can start your your scrapbook layout. And I will use that foil up either on the same layout or I might use it on something else. I'll try and resist the urge to use it in the next stream that I'm doing, so you can see me back here, well, back at Pretty Gets Gritty at 10, when I will be doing some mixed media work, and I don't know what I'm doing yet. I haven't decided. So, join me then for a bit of a surprise. Bye for now.